in which case you should also try mixing up the timing of each jab. Forward tilt can be used as a quick long punish, to hit opponents missing against you, or as mix-up pressure after a landed aerial. It's pretty much safe against a shield at max range, and once you hit a shield twice, you'll start forcing a commitment from the opponent. It can also be angled downwards to punish a ledge stall, or angled up to anti-air short hop pressure. Down tilt is mostly there to disrupt opponents trying to release shield after a landed aerial. It's also safe against shield at max range, so you can use it to damage shields pretty safely. It won't cover rolls or jumps out of shield though, but will certainly condition them forth for you to try out playing later. Once you simply connect it, it leads into forward air or up air. If they attack, they get punished. If they double jump before a really high percentage, it'll catch their jump. The only thing they can do is potentially air dodge, which Ike can still easily punish. The only thing to keep in mind is that from 0 to 20% it'll only combo into back air. The best way to deal with down tilt is to always DI the move away. This will not only heavily limit the combo potential for Ike, but possibly completely allow you to avoid the follow-up without needing to panic at higher percents. Hitting hanging opponents, however, will allow you to combo even easier. Up tilt is clearly an anti-air, quickly hitting opponents above you, so it can for example be used to punish opponents that you know will be trying to attack after you launch them straight above you. Hit the up tilt at low to mid percents and it will also string into up air, meaning the opponent will have to try avoiding it with either double jump or air dodge. It's not really safe against shield if you space it, but it can be hard to punish unless you have a really fast aerial out of shield. If it hits at low percents under a platform, it'll always force a tech situation. Whatever they do, up air or up smash will beat it. Up smash covers a large area and is for hard punishing landings, specifically if they've already spent their double jump. Other than that, it can be used to punish predictable commitments from the ledge. Forward smash is for hard reading opponents that either neutral air dodge or attack after a neutral air at mid percents, or hard punish double jumps back to stage. Down smash can be really good for quickly hard punishing certain slow and unsafe commitments out of shield, or as a really effective parry option. And lastly, we have dash attack, which is mostly used as a whiff punisher, short hop anti-air, and to catch opponents trying to escape with air dodges. As for his throws, they are also very simple. From 0 to roughly 60% you'll want to go for down throw, which will allow you to open up with either a buffered up air to another up air to force a jump and catch their landing, or force out an air dodge that you can re-grab. Or go for up air to a full hop forward air, which will catch their double jump if you execute it fast enough. While air dodges can be re-grabbed, and down thrown yet again for another up air, forward air, or back air. After roughly 60% you'll mostly want to go for up throw, as it'll either combo into forward air or force out an air dodge, as if you try buffering double jump from roughly 60 to 90%, Ike can easily catch the double jump if he executes the forward air fast enough, or if he full hops and double jumps with the forward air. His forward throw and back throw are pretty much the same and will force out a tech situation at mid percents. Or it'll set up for an edge guard. And if you know the opponent is going to favor double jump as an escape, this can be the perfect setup. His down throw can also be used at really high percentage to kill, or set up for a tech situation onto platforms with down throw or up throw. Eruption is obviously designed to punish the 2 frames of vulnerability of recoveries. The longer you charge it, the more percentage it deals. And if you've charged it for a while, a second pillar of fire will appear. Charge it all the way and a third pillar will appear, while dealing 10% to yourself. Against projectiles that might interrupt you off stage, you'll have to jump, double jump, and then charge. He also gains super armor a couple of frames before the attack comes out. Ether travels straight up and down. You can only move a very minimal amount to the left and right. He gains super armor just before he throws the sword, but the armor will disappear as soon as he starts jumping to catch the sword. And because the super armor comes out pretty early, it can be a decent option to anti-air full hops and even tank certain attacks and punish the opponent. It can even be used to combo break close to the edge and try grabbing the ledge. Even though this recovery has a hitbox, it should never be shielded. Instead, you have a bunch of different ways of potentially beating it. The best way to beat it is to stay right above where the sword is about to be thrown, and as Ike is about to grab it, you spike him. You can use certain projectiles against it, outrange him, get behind the sword and hit his back, counter it, and even push him away with water. If you catch the opponent off guard at the ledge, you can drift it back to spike them and grab the ledge. Drift back too much, however, and you won't be able to grab the ledge. Ike's best way of recovering, however, is always with quick draw, which can be mixed up by recovering to the ledge, onto the stage and hit an opponent, right above the opponent at full hop height to auto-cancel it and reset neutral, or extra high as a rare mix-up. Having a platform will mix up his recovery even more, as he can now go extra high to land perfectly onto platforms. And for even more mix-ups, he's able to force double jump and air dodge. If you hit an opponent, you can act with anything. However, you need to do it quickly, before you get into free fall. As fast as it is, this recovery can still be beaten, traded with, or countered. However, it's risky since it can hit quite hard if you are off timing. Quick draw can also be used at mid to high percents if a back air hits, for example. The only other situational use for quick draw is for whiff punishing. Counter is mostly used off stage against recoveries and predictable aggression. Another occasional use can be to counter attacks and projectiles as you try recovering. Fundamentals refer to how you perceive the game and what your awareness level is like during gameplay. Movement, spacing, baiting, conditioning, reading text, DI recognition, stage control, edge guarding, ledge trapping, and how you generally observe the opponent's neutral and habits are all a part of what we call fundamentals. There are more elements, of course, like sensing what the opponent's intentions are, what they need to do, and where they want to be. Sensing cautiousness, fear, desperation, carelessness, stress, panic, frustration, and somewhat knowing how it generally affects the opponent's play to already know how to take advantage of it to keep breaking their mentality. It basically translates into being really good at putting yourself in the opponent's shoes and already play ahead of what you would have done if you were the opponent in every possible situation. During the neutral, Ike wants to keep the opponent completely walled out and pressured. Pressure is incredibly important to apply accurately, quickly, and creatively, as if you don't apply pressure, the opponent can do whatever they want, and you'll have to deal with their pressure instead. Meaning a capable opponent will try to gain an advantage in the neutral and put you in a slight disadvantage, as you will basically be the one who's forced to adapt to the opponent, rather than them adapting to you. And if the opponent doesn't give you any openings through mistakes or overcommitments, you won't be finding any punishes. As important as it is knowing what mistakes you can punish and how to optimally punish it, it is even more important knowing how to punish someone that plays correctly. And when you space and neglect the opponent's punish option, they can only choose to keep shielding, jump out of shield, roll away, or try rolling towards you. None of which are necessarily mistakes, but the only kind of correct plays. These will essentially be the correct plays which you'll be punishing and adapting against. Obviously, there's different kinds of pressure, not only through spacing. Some characters can pressure at close range, as they can either cross up or land with an aerial right in your face and interrupt attempted punishes with quick jabs or tilts. Some characters have projectiles and zairs to pressure the ground, to manipulate the opponent into jumping, and as soon as they do, they get called out on it with aerials or more projectiles. Some characters use their quick movement and ability to pressure forth a whiff and immediately take advantage of it. And so essentially, for any character that you play, you have to find your own kind of creative pressure and be consistent with it whenever you need it. And the biggest reason to why I say creative is because of the parry. Once your pressure is too obvious, it'll easily get parried and you'll more than likely get countered. Pressure is the only thing that will make the best players play worse. Pressure is only half of it, however, and falls under the category of aggression. The other half is defense, which includes optimal movement and positioning, which will allow you to bait and punish. Remember, if you are out of position and throwing out your pressure tools to a point where they are completely whiffing instead of at least hitting a shield, then your pressure is almost non-existent. Unless of course you are faking out the fact that you are about to be whiffing, in which case you are trying to bait the opponent to commit to a whiff punish. Any of your whiffed moves could have instead been replaced with good movement to firstly get into a good position, and then either commit to pressure or try punishing whatever the opponent is doing. Another important use of movement and positioning is right after you've applied the right amount of pressure. Once you sense that the opponent wants to retaliate with their own kind of pressure, you can always move and position yourself just out of their pressure zone and either whiff punish or call out their jump with your anti-air. Your general objective as Ike is to control the middle stage, and always play around how the opponent is trying to claim it from you as they get walled out. Mid-stage control isn't only through staying in the middle stage, however. Once the opponent is cornered, you should close in on them and pressure them. This is where your pressure is at its best. By holding the middle stage away from the opponent through spacing, you will force cornered opponents into either jumping, rolling behind, or holding shield, as punishing shouldn't be possible. This means that you'll only have 3 options to play around, and no matter what they choose, it can be called out or reacted to. You'll also have a positional advantage, since if you hit with any of your moves, the opponent will die earlier, or will at least be edge guarded. While if you get hit, it's not as big of a deal as you have the whole stage to land while walling them out. On top of that, you also have the entire stage to use to keep them walled out, whenever they're feeling more and more desperate for an opening. This basically translates into that Ike's worst position is when he is cornered. The edge guarding phase is fairly simple. You can stay on stage and charge Eruption, or go off stage and counter, or try hitting the opponent. What's important to keep track of here is the opponent's off-stage drift. If they keep holding towards the stage, you can always directly wall it out, or read an air dodge towards the ledge. Otherwise, if they level their drift with your movement going off stage, you'll be limited in how far you'll be able to go off stage, and where you can swing your forward air. And sometimes if they do this, there isn't so much that you can do, and you'll mostly have to go back to charge Eruption or ledge trap. Ledge trapping is the phase of the game where you try to completely deny the opponent from getting back to the stage and rack up damage, while also creating more edgeguard opportunities. Because Ike has such huge range, he has an easy time ledge trapping. It all starts with positioning right here, as you can now safely threaten with down tilt to have the opponent press an option either as soon as possible or at the very end of their invincibility. This makes you the dictator of when they have to press the ledge option and will help you in reacting to their options. There's usually only 3 options you have to consider doing during the ledge trapping phase: down tilt, shield, or jump to an aerial. You either down tilt pressure to shield so you can counter regular get-ups, get-up attacks, and possibly some aggressive double jumps in, while also being able to back air or neutral air if they try rolling behind you, or up air if they try jumping above you. Some of the time, depending on the matchup, you don't want to be shielding, however, and so it's better to jump so that you can space out any commitment with good timing. In other words, you can down tilt pressure to a jump neutral air to wall out any commitment you think they'll be going for. Even if you ended up hitting their shield, it'll be fine, as they'll still be cornered and won't be able to directly punish the neutral air. It's up to you whether you want to short hop or full hop neutral air, but keep in mind that you aren't completely invulnerable going for these options. If you neutral air and stay too close, the opponent can time a get-up attack to hit you, and if you don't consider covering your back sometimes with neutral air, the opponent will be able to roll and escape the ledge trap. If you keep carelessly short hopping or full hopping, you can always get anti-aired by opponents pressing a ledge jump into a quick aerial. Ledge jumps in general is something that you can easily deal with if you're grounded, as they'll be straight above you for an up air to hit them or trap them. If the opponent isn't doing anything and you are airborne, you can fast fall and down tilt to punish the ledge stall and get a combo. Except for this, you can also of course always choose to swing with back air or forward air as well if you feel like it's more beneficial. There are many ways of ledge trapping that you can experiment with on your own. The final step is pacing. Pacing or rhythm is extremely important for recognizing the state of mind of the opponent, as well as what they're fishing for. You should always start by feeling out the opponent to get a good sense of what you are up against. Being capable of adapting in terms of decision making is as crucial as knowing how to pace yourself against the opponent's rhythm, and adjusting to their rhythm if it changes, as well as knowing how to manipulate their rhythm and punish it. If the opponent plays slow and careful, you need to adjust and do the same. However, you can manipulate that pacing by quickly applying safe and rhythmic pressure to make them feel rushed, and make them feel like they have to keep up with you in terms of their own pressure with the same quick pacing. Every once in a while, you can break your own pacing and punish all the stress-induced commitments that you've caused. Breaking your pace can throw the opponent off rhythm and confuse them. This can obviously be done in many ways, like walking away, dash dancing, being stilled for a few frames, using moves that stall you or excel you in the air, or even charging a smash attack when it's least expected. It's all relevant in terms of mix-ups and getting into the opponent's head. And so, in playing against Ike, you must understand that he can kill you at any time, if he makes the right reads during his advantage. But you can also kill him at any time, as long as you make the right read against his way of recovering. Thank you guys for watching. These videos take a lot of hard work and time to do, so if you want to support this series, I'd be very grateful if you'd make it worth it for me by supporting me on my Patreon. And for the Patreons I already have, thank you guys for all the support. Next up will be Mario and Link.
Here's pus in your eye.
I'll just sharpen my spear.
In the competitive history of League of Legends, there was one team who stood above the rest. A team more successful and dominant than we had ever seen before. They essentially invented how we play modern League of Legends today and were one of the best Western teams in the history of the game, but as quickly as they exploded onto the scene, they would disappear nearly as fast, and due to the US government no less.
Federal officials have announced the largest bust of a hacking ring in U.S. history. 5 men are charged with stealing more than 160 million credit and debit card numbers.
Intrusions into the networks of NASDAQ, 7-Eleven, JCPenney, Heartland Payment Systems.
Here's pus in your eye. I am the rotten apple that spoils the bunch.
That's what triumph tastes like, my pretty pets.
In green, I go.
They'll never find your grave.
That's what triumph tastes like, my pretty pets. Behold my beauty.
Damnation rises.
I ride with the light.
The dragon comes for war. The sleeping dragon wakes.
They'll never find your grave.
The hunter feasts. In green, I go. On my way. Damnation rises. The trees are not so good with motion. I'll not be rushed. The dragon comes for war.
Behold my beauty. When I was beautiful, I never knew what I was missing. triumph tastes like, my pretty pets?
In the service of Salamene.
The hunter feasts. I am the dead of winter.